David.
Come round one. As far as the international audience is concerned, well, Novak Djokovic and Victoria Azarenka, they're going to be arriving in a fairly unique fashion. They're going to be coming via boat. We'll have that for you a little bit later. And as far as the Australians are concerned, where is Leighton Hewitt going to end up? Of course, one of the dangerous floaters going through. He's been an enormous warrior for Australian tennis and certainly has a lot of crowd support. Sam Stosur, well, she's had an indifferent start to her Australian summer. She'll be looking to step it up a notch at the Australian Open. And Bernard Tomic just flying in Sydney at the moment and going beautifully. So Bernard will be looking to hopefully get deep into the second week of the Australian Open. We're going to be bringing you the draw and all the details in a few moments' time. But first up, John Millman has joined me. And John, thanks a lot for coming. This is the first time you're...
So it was great. Not a lot of time do my family and friends get to watch me, so because you travel for 11 months of the year. So I got through qualifying there. I played fellow Australian and wildcard recipient Luke Saville. And then I had to play against Alex Bogomolov Jr. last year, 32 in the world.
Yeah.
Donald Young last year, 36 in the world. So it was a tough qualifying, but I managed to get through and really rode the crowd there and got through my matches in straight sets. And then I was asked in the who I was going to be playing in the main draw. It was one of four because I was going into a qualifying spot, and it was fourth time lucky for me against Tatsuma Ito. So I got him in straight. Can't thank enough the support that I got in Brisbane, and then obviously went down in 3 sets to Andy Murray. But it was a fantastic experience and one that I'm going to take with me for the rest of my career.
There's been a lot of discussion about crowd support. Leighton Hewitt obviously thrives on it. He said the other day that maybe Sam Stosur doesn't thrive on it. For you, it seems to be a bit of column A. You seem to love the fact that your local Brisbane audience was there, but here in Melbourne, obviously, you're going to have plenty of support as well.
Yeah, I love it. I really do. I think it's such a privilege to me to play in front of people who have been such great support for me my whole life, and I just want to put on a show for them. And in Brisbane, I managed to do so, and I'm hoping, I booked my dad some accommodation. It's a surprise to him, so if he's watching, he's coming down tomorrow, apparently. So I'll go have a few friends coming down too, and it's going to be a lot of fun and an experience that I'm really looking forward to. And I'm not there to make up the numbers. Hopefully I can get an all right draw and win matches.
What's your first Australian Open experience? You come from a sporting family. We can go through that. But your first Australian Open experience, what do you remember? Was it, do we go all the way back to Kooyong? I think you might be talking Melbourne Park with you, or Flinders Park as it was in those days.
Yeah, I'm not that old yet. I'm not that old yet. But you remember just flashes for me. I remember Jim Courier jumping in the Yarra.
Wow, yeah, that was a vision, wasn't it?
I thought that was incredible. And I think anyone who watched that wish they were jumping in the river with him as an Australian Open champion. But the Australian Open's changed a lot. We've changed surfaces now, and it's an exciting time. The venue looks great right now. I think that's the first time I've seen it, the new developments, and I think they're doing a great job here, and this tournament continues to grow, and it's going to be such a good experience playing here.
When you talk about the experience, we've touched on the crowd. Some amazing imagery there of the wildcard playoffs, and congratulations to everyone who's involved. And if you'd like to get to the Australian Open, Ticketek still have tickets available. The ground pass to get in and have a look is sensational value, and you can get that at australianopen.com or indeed through Ticketek as well, especially for the first week because some of the biggest names are out on the courts that you've just seen in the vision there. The tournament director, Craig Tiley's been kind enough to join us. Craig, we're only moments.
We'll actually see it. It's done by random selection, once it goes out, that's it. That's the draw.
Random selection's one thing, but there's some dangerous floaters going around. Is there anyone in particular you're going to be keeping an eye on in that regard?
Well, there's certainly, we've got a few Grand Slam champions that are out there floating that are not seeded. Someone like Francesca Schiavone, who was just a couple of years ago was a French Open champion, and she's in the draw to play anyone, and so that'll be an interesting matchup. On the men's side, you've got some players just sitting out of the draw. Kevin Anderson, who's currently in the semi-finals of the Sydney International, and he was the last player not to be seeded. So I think, he'll be a tough player to beat. So, and then of course we've got the Aussies, which were those that won the wildcard playoff, and some of the younger ones. This could be the year that some of the young ones make some breakthroughs. But we'll see what the draw holds for them, and there's some very tough players that could be playing.
As far as Melbourne Park's concerned, some wonderful redevelopment. Take us through what happened with the Eastern Plaza, and of course work has halted on Margaret Court Arena, but that's exciting to have a roof over that to become the third roof in the next couple of years.
Well, we're very fortunate at the Australian Open. We pride ourselves on the fact that we have the best facilities now in the world, and adding to that is putting another retractable roof on Margaret Court Arena. So with Rod Laver and Hisense and Margaret Court Arena, and for those that need to know, is that when it's raining, we can close the roof and we can continue with play, and we can show the matches around the world. And obviously when it gets too hot, I think today it's going to get a little warm, but if it gets really hot, we're able to do the same thing as close the roof there. So having the luxury of being able to do it on 3 courts, what that means is, regardless of the weather, we could actually finish the event, play all the matches over the 2 weeks on those 3 courts if we had to. It'll be long days and long nights, but it gives us that luxury to be able to do that. And
the clay court's obviously super important for the development of Australian tennis, to have that accessibility to a little slice of Europe by the Yarra.
Well, it is. On the side we have 50 courts now, and the way it stretches from Richmond Station all the way into the city, into Batman Avenue, very close to the city. The 4 Grand Slams, the French Open, Roland Garros, Wimbledon, and the US Open, I think have become very envious of our facility now, and the feedback we're getting from the players that we are the best.
Well, Craig, good luck. Obviously, your heart will skip up a beat or two when IBM unfold the numbers and the names and how it's all going to work for the draw. We know that Novak Djokovic and Victoria Azarenka are on their way down the river, but last year, of course, for Victoria Azarenka, it was an enormous win here. Let's have a look at how that unfolded. And, of course, we can also see the 2012 highlights and some of the best shots of last year's tournament.
Touch. Oh, what a shot. Can't do anything about that. Got him. Oh, that's well done. Oh, it's in.
This time, the Frenchman.
This time she's there.
Oh, the touch as well now. Wow.
Can you hear me okay? That's good. Welcome to the 2013 Australian Open Draw. A different location, and I must say welcome to the VIPs. And Steve Wood, great to have you here, of course, the Chief Executive of Tennis Australia. A number of other dignitaries here today. But to the public who are surrounding us today, thank you for coming. And I hope you get the opportunity over the next fortnight to go to the Tennis Centre. It's a fabulous fortnight. It's one of the great events in world sport. It is, I think, globally the most important event in Australia each year. So it's wonderful to see you here today. I've just been told that Novak Djokovic and Victoria Azarenka are both on a boat with the trophies, travelling from Melbourne Park as we speak. So they'll be joining us in about 6 or 7 minutes' time. So that's going to be very, very exciting. Just a bit of an overview. It's record prize money this year, $30 million. So it's, with the Australian dollar so strong, it's a fantastic effort by Tennis Australia to provide such prize money. They've also provided $1,000 travel arrangements for all of the players, which I think is a fantastic initiative. The redevelopment, we heard Craig a moment ago talking to Ian about the redevelopment of the stadium and some of the facilities. I'll talk to Craig Tiley about that in just a moment. For the women, we've got 49 of the top 50 in the world playing here. For the men, we've got 95 of the top 100. There are 44 countries at this stage represented, and that's before qualifying finishes. The women, the top 11 women come from 11 different countries. There are 10 Grand Slam winners in the tournament. And from the men, the 3 countries that have got 2 in the top 10 are Serbia, France, and Spain. And we've got 5 Grand Slam winners. So, great field. Really, really exciting times. 15 Australians at the moment, that's before qualifying. 1 seeded, that's Sam Stosur. And Leighton Hewitt's playing his 17th consecutive Australian Open. It's a remarkable achievement. He's 31 years of age, and he's playing his 17th Australian Open. So do your math. It's pretty remarkable. And Bernard Tomic, who's playing in the semi-final in Sydney today against Seppi, has had a great start to his summer. So they're three of the Australians that are obviously going to be to the forefront. Without further ado, as we're waiting for Novak and Victor, but they're making their way up, let's just go back and take a snapshot of what happened here 12 months ago.
This is the crowning achievement for my whole career to have this be the Labor Stadium.
If I've done it once, maybe I can do it twice. Why not?
You know that when you go out there, you hope to be the champion at the end of the day.
Played a lot of the Australian Opens, and I've seen it change a bit over the years, and it's been a great tournament for me.
Shoot, I love you guys out here. Like, it's the best I've ever played any tournament in my whole life.
We're going to end up with the best facilities in the world for Grand Slam tennis.
One of sport's great modern-day rivalries produces yet another epic clash. Victoria Azarenka fulfills the dream. Novak Djokovic is the champion in Melbourne for the third time. That was simply extraordinary.
Good morning, everybody. You're one of the best players ever. You're one of the most respected guys on the tour. We made a history tonight.
I think we all remember that like it was yesterday, but it was amazing. If Novak wins here, he'll be the first player in the Open era to win 3 consecutive Australian Opens. That's male player. The last player to have won at least three, was Roy Emerson. He won 5 in a row in the 1960s. So Djokovic, who's got this great record at the Australian Open, 3 of the last 5, the last 2, hoping to become the first to win 3 in a row. For Azarenka, she's hoping to defend a Grand Slam title for the first time. It's the first time in 15 years that we've had the 2 defending champions come back as the #1 seeds. The last time that happened was with Pete Sampras and Martina Hingis. So that's nice that both Victor and Novak come back as the #1 seeds. Doesn't happen every day of the week. For Roger Federer, he's made 34 consecutive quarterfinals at the Grand Slams. I mean, if you say it quickly, it doesn't sound like much, but it's probably never going to be matched again. And if he does win, he'll be 18 Grand Slams, which is the number that Chris Evert and Martina Navratilova won. And of course, we do compare it with golf occasionally, Jack Nicklaus. So Serena Williams, she's won more Australian Opens, male or female, at Melbourne Park than anybody else. She's won 5, and she's going for a 3rd consecutive Grand Slam, having won Wimbledon and also having won at the US Opens, and she won the Olympics, of course. So, and Andy Murray, what a change in his life over the last 6 months. Twice a beaten finalist here, semi-finalist last year, made a US Open final before this year, and of course he's the Olympic and US Open champion. So that's just a few of the, I guess, interesting stats surrounding the event. Craig, would you like to come forward? Ladies and gentlemen, you've met him already today, but Craig Tiley, the tournament director. Thank you, Craig. Good to see you. Come on. Craig, you spoke to Ian a bit about some of the facilities, but I wanted to talk to you about some of the extra entertainment and some of the things that the fans that are here today can enjoy besides the tennis at Melbourne Park.
Well, it really starts tomorrow with Kids Tennis Day. We have, starting at 9 in the morning, going all the way through to about 1 o'clock. On Rod Laver from 12 to 1, we have some of the top players out there doing an exhibition, and following that will be a show by Guy Sebastian. So that kicks us off with the kids. We're inviting all kids. They can get online and register to be out there tomorrow, and we're inviting all kids to come out to tomorrow to the tennis. And then
what time does that start tomorrow for the people that is it around lunchtime?
Well, that on Rod Laver we're starting at 12.
12,
but the Kids Tennis Day actually starts earlier than that. It starts in the morning at I think it's 9 o'clock, and so there'll be 2 hours on the court. The kids can actually go and hit on all the courts that we've got
Fantastic.
out there. We're not playing any matches. We're letting the kids go out and play, and there'll be some great players walking around. And then, of course, we're all going to go into Rod Laver Arena at 12 o'clock and have a bit of a show and see some of the greats of the game.
No, that's fantastic. The players have got their party tonight. Now, hopefully they'll be well enough to come out on Rod Laver tomorrow. I'm sure they will. But that sort of, the bar's been raised a bit with the players' party too, hasn't it?
It has. We're having the players' party tonight at the Grand Hyatt. The Australian Open's always been known as the event that entertains the players the best. And we do start tonight with the first bit of that entertainment, and it is the party. It's going to be a special experience for the players because not only do we have all Australian animals in there, we have fire throwers and a whole bunch of other things. But I think the players are going to really have a good time tonight. Probably not going to be up too late because they got to get ready the next 2 days, and of course when we start on Monday.
Now, it's a sort of an anniversary year in a way, isn't it? I mean, 25 years since at Melbourne Park. It was 10 years ago that Andre Agassi won. Now, I believe Andre's coming back.
He'll be back. He's going to be here the second week. He'll be part of our celebration. Be here for 5 days, and we'll see him obviously on the night of the men's final. And it's been a while since he's been back. Spoke to him last week, and he said he's really excited about it. And actually, these coaching teams, they're all down here already. So I think to welcome back the former champions, they love coming to Melbourne, and he's one of them.
And another champion who's going to be honoured is Roy Emerson, isn't he, over the next couple of weeks?
He will. He's going to be inducted as a legend in a Legend Hall of Fame, and we do that the second Saturday at our Legends Lunch, and him and his wife Joy will be here the whole second week. So what a great he's been, Sampras was the first to break his record, and of course now Roger's taken that to another level.
Yeah, Roy Emerson, an Australian who won 12 Grand Slam titles, and as Craig said, then Pete came along and has got 14, and Roger unbelievably. It's going to be sad when Roger's not coming here, but that won't be for a couple of years at least, I think.
He told me last night he was on the court with his family and his little girls playing, and at least another 5 years.
Hey, Craig, how do you go about working out who's on Rod Laver Arena, and how do you work out which matches go where?
It's a good question. No, we get a lot of...
Is it all star power?
Well, there's a little bit of that, and a lot of it, there's so many variables that go into making a decision. We have, there's a scheduling room, which it looks like the flight deck of the Starship Enterprise, and it's
a bit like the Pentagon, I think.
that we use, which are show courts where there's stands and shade on all of them, and then there's another, a whole series of practice courts. So there's 50 courts on site where the fans can go and watch some great tennis.
Craig, I think we might be able to cut to a shot of Vicker and Novak. I think they're not too far away. Here we go. So have a look. Look at this. Have a look. What a great shot. I mean,
isn't that great?
Yeah, with both the trophies. And 1945, this boat's been going well before Melbourne Park and looks in pristine condition. So the two champions from last year, the two world number ones, on their way. I wonder how superstitious they are. I mean, a lot of people don't want to touch the trophy. I mean, both these guys had their hands around the trophy last year and they were kissing it and doing everything. But I wonder whether they actually want to put their hands on it.
Well, if you notice the two security guards on the side, they have white gloves because you're not allowed to touch the trophy with your bare hands unless you've won it. So otherwise, anyone else who hasn't won it, doesn't matter who you are, you need to put on the white gloves to touch the trophy. So,
whilst we're waiting for Vicker and Novak to come, they're very close. Let's quickly have a look at some of the emotions from the players from last year. Good stuff there. Craig, just a couple of other things. So we've just got to get them safely here, which won't take a minute. Just apparently the tides are a bit tricky today, but it's all worked out. It's all been worked out pretty well.
I think we are going to drop them off just back there and then. bring
Yeah, and
them
then
up,
Victoria and Novak will make their way through and join us on stage. 686,000, I think, and 6 people last year, which is a record. Remarkable when you think about it. How are ticket sales going this year, and is there any chance we could get close to that number this year?
Well, we're certainly hoping that. Obviously, we have 25 sessions, so 14 days. You've got to have 14 days of good weather. But we're very excited about where things are at. We're ahead of the same time last year. We know that our fans in Australia love coming to the Australian Open. It's one of those to-do things. You put it on your calendar every year, and you come out and know Steve Wood, our CEO, is and the team have done an unbelievable job of making the Australian Open what it is today. It's more than doubled in its size over the past 6 years.
I certainly remember when I first started at Channel 7 doing it, which was in 1991, I think, my first one. It's a whole different ball game, so to speak. I mean, it just gets more exciting every year. Now, the weather. You mentioned the weather. It looks pretty promising at the moment for the first week, doesn't it? I mean, we're talking high 20s, aren't we?
Yeah. No, well, we have one thing that's unique we've had really the last 5 years too is we have a weather station right on site, and we have a weatherman, Bob, and Bob tells us what's happening with the weather, and is that's not Roger Federer.
No.
Anyway, and he is very accurate. He can tell us exactly what's happening every hour. In fact, he's accurate to the point where he can come to us and say, I think in the next 10 minutes we can have a bit of rain, so get ready to close the roof. And he's normally right. When he's wrong, then we have some issues. But he's very accurate. It's fantastic that we're able to do that. And the weather for the next 2 weeks looks really good. We're going to have a hot day today, I think a hot day next Thursday. I think there's a few showers in the forecast, but that's really in the evening. And so we're excited about what the weather holds. Obviously, it's unpredictable, but it looks good.
And Craig, if I'm standing out here at the moment and I haven't got a ticket, can I still buy a ticket to come to the Australian Open?
Absolutely. As I mentioned earlier, we've got 25 sessions, the day sessions, night sessions, and we believe that our grounds pass is the best ticket in town. But then, of course, Hisense Arena, Rod Laver Arena, you can be guaranteed. Wait for that.
Ooh, it's a bit blowy. Sorry about this, but so
you can be guaranteed a seat if you purchase one in Hisense Rod Laver. We do have tickets available, and we encourage all our fans to go to Ticketek. And get tickets online and come and watch some of the greats. There's 550 players, so you can walk around the site, watch on all the courts, and you can have a great seat watching some of the greats of the world.
And Hawkeye electronic scoreboards have been increasing both of those on courts?
5 courts now that have electronic line calling, so that's when a player can obviously can contest a call that's made by the official.
Which has added to the excitement of the event.
It certainly has, and nearly have it on all courts. And then on every single court we have new scoreboards. So and these are electronic, and it gives you a rundown of what's happening. One thing new this year, which I know the fans are going to love, is that the MCG Bridge, we've now closed it off to public traffic, and it's now a viewing deck for looking over all the eastern courts. So right beneath you can see all the practice courts.
Fantastic.
You can go up there. There's entertainment up there. And you get a great view. And so instead of just looking at one court, you can actually see about 5 or 6. And you get that with a grounds pass as well.
No, that's fantastic. Stay there, Craig, for 1 second. Just want to make sure that we haven't lost our players. I don't think we have. I think they're getting pretty close, actually. It was an incredible final. I mean, Vickers was incredible because she was so dominant. But Rafa and Novak, you felt like the sport went to another level again, if that was possible, don't you?
Well, we asked the question a lot if we can repeat that, but 5 hours, 53 minutes was unbelievable tennis from the word go. And, I know that Rafa, in talking to him directly, he's very disappointed that he cannot be with us. But Novak's playing good tennis. He's come at the end, finished the last championship of the year that he won, and the same thing with Victoria. So I think we're in for an unbelievable 14 days. But it's repeating that final, it's possible. The players are that good.
As a commentator, I don't know if I want 5 hours and 54 minutes again or whatever. It was just like being in the lolly shop for 10 minutes too long, wasn't it? It was just unbelievable.
No, I wanted more of that. That was so good.
Channel 7 were very happy. Don't worry about that.
I'm sure there were a lot of happy people.
No, Craig, you're going to come up and join me in a minute with Wayne when we do the draw. So what we'll do, Vicar and Novak are about a minute away. They'll come and join me. Cashy's not far away. Pat Cash, a Wimbledon champion in '87, twice a runner-up here, and a great Australian player. He's been over in Adelaide actually doing some good things. Pat will be joining us to go through the draw as well and to have a look at some of the really good matchups. And John Millman was here earlier, which was great to see John. And look, Bernard's been so impressive, and Leighton's obviously playing pretty well too, isn't he?
Well,
so it's good.
Yep, I think Bernard hasn't lost a match in January yet, and he's playing Seppi today in Sydney. So in the semi-finals of a major tour event, so I think he's playing good tennis.
No doubt about that. He had the win over Novak in Perth, which it was a great performance. And Leighton, gee, he's from my own town. I can't. As I said, 17 Australian Opens and he's 31. That doesn't really add up, does it?
And playing the finals of Kooyong today after having a
he's got. It'll be on Saturday. He'll either be playing Baghdadis or Del Potro in the final, which will be a great event. Craig, thanks a lot.
Thanks,
terrific. Come back and join us in a minute. And I think we're getting really, really close. In fact, it's now just 1 minute away from seeing Victoria and also Novak come up. So it's a great effort that they've been able to come out here today. I think it's the first time ever that we've been able to get both the defending champions together. I might be wrong on that. Actually, Kim might have come last year with Novak, but that was at Melbourne Park. But again, thanks everyone for coming. So what will happen, we'll have an interview. Both the players will have a chat to us about their preparations, and then Pat will come up and we'll have a talk about the draw, and then Wayne and Craig will go through the draw. And one of the really interesting things is that, because Rafa isn't here, that with the men, which one of Novak or Roger will get Andy Murray in the semi-final, and just how the marbles might fall. So that's going to be very interesting. And obviously for the women, there's the Serena factor, of course, because she's the number 3 seed, but the number 4 seed has been in sparkling form, Radwanska. She won in Auckland and she's in the final of Sydney tonight. So the women maybe not quite so important, but that's going to be really interesting to see who Vicar and Novak get potentially in that semi-final. So players have got to win 7 matches to get through, and in the end there's the mighty prize of a Grand Slam, and not to mention the prize money, which is an all-time record. So both the trophies and the players are about to make their way up. They won't be a second or two away. So Novak won his first Grand Slam here in 2008. Here we come. So Australia's been great for Novak, and Vicar won her first Grand Slam here. So Melbourne will be very close and near and dear to both of them. Ladies and gentlemen, what a really big hand for the 2 number 1 players in the world, the 2 defending champions. It's great to have them here. Come forward, gentlemen, and Vicar as well. Ladies and gentlemen, Victoria Azarenka and Novak Djokovic. Thanks for coming, really appreciate it. Now, Vicar, maybe, is that okay there, I reckon? And Novak, you're not superstitious holding it, Novak? You've done that before? Welcome, Bruce McAvaney, nice to see you again. Vicar, Bruce McAvaney, nice. Come up and join me, We're just talking about that final, Novak. How long did it take you to feel normal again after 5 hours and 50-odd minutes?
Well, it's difficult to say if I felt normal after the final, but it was definitely a thrilling 5-setter, almost 6 hours, and I just remember I got to bed around 6:30 a.m. or something like that. So it's been a long night, but you enjoy it as much as you can after a title like that.
And Vicar, were you on your way to America when the men were playing, or were you around?
Actually, I was in the stands. I went to watch their match, but it was so long that obviously I couldn't stay for the entire match. I went back, for dinner. I came back to my room and I finished watching your guys' match in my room, actually, because it was so long. But it was absolutely incredible match, and I flew out the next day. It
was a 5-course dinner, I reckon, like a 5. I've got to ask you, have you had a pedicure since you've come to Melbourne?
No.
Okay. How is the toe?
It's much better, thank you. And been practicing for the last couple of days, and feels good. So I'm really happy, that it's all gone and behind me.
I mean, I could ask the same question to Novak in 2008, but how did winning in Melbourne change your life? I mean, you were a great tennis player before that, but now you're a Grand Slam champion and world #1 as well. But how did it change?
Yeah, well, it definitely brought a lot more attention, and for me personally, just kind of a self-belief, the statement that I did it, and it was brought me a lot of confidence, and knowing that I would love to repeat this feeling again. And last year have been amazing, and I've been trying to achieve the same feeling again, and that's what I'm here for again.
Novak, do you have a holiday at the end of the year?
Yes.
Where'd you go?
A few weeks. Well, this is the first year after many years that in our schedule we had a weeks longer off season. So for us it was great, and we got to enjoy a little bit more, the life off the court, not being committed to travel to the tournament. So went to Brazil as Vika did. Also, we had some exhibition events going on, and then went to a nice tropical place for holidays for a few weeks, and then got back on the court to prepare for Australia.
And how hard? You must train incredibly hard to prepare for a 5-set, 2-week Grand Slam right at the start of the year, basically. Do you go through the same process every year?
Yes, well, the routine more or less generally is the same. I have a same team of people for last 6-7 years, and we nurtured this friendship and also this cooperation that has been very successful. So I'm glad that I have a really good team that helps me to improve every year and helps me to maintain that focus and commitment to the sport. So they're really important to me, and I'm glad to have them around.
And Novak, where do you do your training? Like in December?
We are based in the same place. We're in Monaco. We get to do practice, and I see her very often in the gym working out. She works more than me. I tend to have some orange juice while I watch her practice. But,
because I start a little bit earlier than you do, so when you're having your juice, I'm already running,
And Vicky, did you have a holiday?
Yes, I did. I had a holiday. I went to Las Vegas, actually. I was just telling Novak about it, and I didn't spend any money, but I still need to earn some this year. It was fun. And then I went to Belarus. I wanted to spend time at home because I don't get to do that much, and I spent time with my family, with my friends. It was really fun. It was a little bit cold, but I didn't really care about it.
Different preparation for you this year because you'd won in Sydney last year. In fact, you had an incredible run, a bit like you did, Novak, at the start of 2011 when you didn't lose until the French Open. And Vicky, you had, I think, 26 consecutive wins at the start of the year. So, but is it a little different for you coming off Brisbane here rather than coming off a win in Sydney?
No, not really. I mean, I just chose that tournament, to have the week in between to prepare better. But it didn't really matter. I don't look at the last year of saying that I have to do exactly the same, so I'll have exact same results. I just felt like this would be the best for me, and that's why I chose that. And the preparation's been pretty good so far. I had couple matches to get in and before that happened, but I'm pretty happy where I'm at, and can't wait to the start of the tournament.
A couple more questions each. I've got to ask you about Bernard Tomic because you played him, and you know him so well. I want to grab something, a little prop we call it. But how do you think he played in Perth?
Oh, he played great. I think he improved his game. He's definitely Australia's biggest tennis hope, and I'm sure that the Australian tennis public has something to cheer for. I mean, he's very talented, and he's an all-round player. He got physically stronger, so now it's only about mentally maturing and understanding the tennis and how it works, and understanding what he needs to do on and off the court, and getting more used to the life on and off the court, and playing consistently well. So if he does that, he has a potential to be a top player.
Now, just find it must be a buzz when you get your photo on the front of the media guide. Novak, that's a great shot of you. So there's Novak on the... And Victoria, I just love this shot of you. Do you remember?
I like that more.
Yeah, can we see that one? Where was the photo taken?
That was taken in Cincinnati. We did the whole campaign "Strong is Beautiful" for the WTA, and it was in New York Times as well, I think.
It looks
so.
fantastic.
Thank you. It took about a few hours to get that.
It really does.
Yeah, Novak. So, are you going to the players' party tonight?
Well, might as well.
What are you going to wear, Novak?
Something like that, maybe.
Well, that's a secret, you know.
Okay. Vika, have you got a special outfit for tonight's players' party?
You know, I actually bought a few yesterday, so maybe I should, take it on a date.
It sounds good. Look, to both of you, look, we do appreciate you coming out here so much, and you've both given us so much enjoyment over a long period of time, and congratulations. I said earlier, it's the first time in 15 years that the defending champions have come back as the number one seeds, both of them. I mean, the last time was with Pete Sampras and Martina Hingis. So that's cool, I reckon, that you're both defending champions and world number one at the same time. Ladies and gentlemen, the two number one players in the world, Victoria Azarenka and Novak Djokovic. Thanks, guys. Really appreciate it. Thanks, Vika. All the very best. So, and be careful when you go down, because I don't want any accidents, particularly after Perth, Novak. So good luck, ladies and gentlemen. Novak Djokovic and Victoria Azarenka. Pat, are you about Kashi? Where is Pat? I know I saw him. Thanks, Pat. It's just great of both of them to give us so much of their time. We're about to, in fact, Wayne and Craig, do you want? I reckon come up, don't you? Pat, welcome. Great to see you, mate. You've been. Thank you. I know you were here last night for a bit of a party at the Grand Hyatt, but you've been in Adelaide.
Yeah, I didn't know where.
You've been in
all
Adelaide.
over the place.
You've been in Adelaide, mate.
I've been in Adelaide.
In fact,
I've been in Sydney. I've been in London. I've been in Melbourne.
Well, you know where you are right now.
I know I'm right next to you, mate. Isn't this guy great?
Oh, yeah.
I watch this. I don't get sick of you because I don't miss you because I listen to you on the football. I get the replays back around the world, and I watch the Mighty Hawks. And I know you're a big Hawks supporter.
I'm absolutely neutral, but he does love his. I remember seeing Kashi after the grand final at Waverley Park. I walked out and you'd beaten West Coast. It was amazing. Hey Pat, just a couple of quickies. Novak talked about Bernard Tomic. I mean,
they left already.
Yeah, they've gone. Gone. Yeah.
Oh, that was nice of them to turn up.
Just in a quick overview, how many men can win?
I think realistically in three.
Three.
But look, you never know. I mean, that's a great thing about Grand Slams is they've got the best players in the world, and anything can happen. 5-set matches, heat, all that sort of stuff. I mean, you've got to say Novak, of course, number one in the world, defending champion. You'd expect him to be the favourite. But I think Andy Murray has now hit his peak. So we've got, and of course Federer is still playing great tennis. Roger Federer. We'd love to see Rafa back, of course, but that's not the case. But to see those top four players sort of all at their peak. Rafa's not there. But Federer's got a chance. But guys like Thomas Berdych, for instance, these big hitting players that can do a lot of damage in the tournament.
Del Potro and Tsonga.
Del Potro. It goes on. And Bernard and Leighton, amongst those guys, is probably just outside of the top three who can do some serious damage.
I'll ask you about the women in a moment because we'll do the women's draw. Wayne, ladies and gentlemen, Wayne McEwen joins us, the tournament referee, along with Craig, who you met earlier, the tournament director. Wayne, it's your 25th Australian Open.
Yes, it is, Bruce. 25.
You're about the same age as Melbourne Park, mate. Wayne, just the one thing I wanted to ask you about the 25-second between point rule, so to speak. Just fill us in, will you?
Well, actually, at the Grand Slams, we don't have 25 seconds. It's 20 seconds between points. It's always been the case for, I'd say, at least the last 10, 15 years. The ATP have always been 25 seconds. They haven't changed the time in between points. At the Grand Slams, we've always used good common sense and judgment from the officials to enforce that.
Think it'll be an issue?
Well, I think it's something that needs to be. I think if you're getting the ITF are bringing rules in, they've got to enforce the rules. And I think as much as we like Novak bouncing the ball between points, well, he's over there, but 18 bounces every time is not exactly TV watching stuff, though the hitting the ball is. So, look, I think it's the enforcement of the rules is more important than anything.
Wayne, we might start with the women, I think. So I'm in your hands a bit here. Pat's going to help you.
Yes.
So I think it's the unseeded players first and then the seeded players, correct?
Yeah, we'll start with the unseeded players. I'd like to ask IBM, our international information technology partners to randomly place the unseeded players into the women's singles draw.
So 32 seeds. So okay.
This looks very exciting. I've never seen this before.
Okay, so stay with us, Pat. So Sabine Lisicki, number 18. She'll be Jarmila Gajdosova, number 42. Just a couple there. Kuznetsova going to be pretty interesting to see who she might get. So we'll sort all that out in a minute. So you need Pat for a bit of help out there? Pat, do you want to go over and help Wayne for the seeds? So I'll look after your bottle. Your water. So Wayne.
Hey, Pat.
So do we start with 3 and 4? Do we, Wayne?
We'll start with 1 and 2.
Oh,
actually.
of course.
Well, they're already up there.
So
on line 1.
So Monica Nicolescu, okay, who's been in the top 25 before and has played pretty well this summer.
Yep. So on line 1 we have Victoria Azarenka, and on line 128 Maria Sharapova. We then move to seeds 3 and 4. First one drawn goes onto line 97, seed 5, Angelique Kerber.
So Angelique Kerber, who made the semi-final in Sydney, played last night in that semi-final. Also semi-finals in a couple of the Grand Slams last year.
We now do seeds 9 through 12. First drawn goes onto line 17. We have our 10th seed, Caroline Wozniacki.
Former world number 1 seed here at the Australian Open.
To line 49 is next. We have our 12th seed, Nadia Petrova.
So Wozniacki Lisicki is a pretty big first round match, isn't it? So Petrova goes in and she's up against Kumiko Date, who's 42 years of age. Remarkable.
What's that one? We have line 9, on line 80, we have our number 9th seed, Samantha Stosur.
So everyone in Australia is hoping that Sam will have a good run here. So you would think looks a reasonable first round for her.
And on line 112, our 11th seed, Marion Bartoli.
Interesting with Sam, if you look just above, she may play Zhang Zhou, who she played in Sydney this week.
We'll now draw seeds 13 to 16. First drawn goes onto line 16. And we have our 16th seed, Roberta Vinci.
Made the quarterfinals of the US Open last year. So sort of a late developer, like quite a few of the Italian players.
Line 48, we have our 14th seed, Maria Kirilenko.
Maria recently engaged to a leading ice hockey player in America, and she's done well here at the Australian Open.
Line 81, we have our 13th seed, Anna Ivanovic.
Always a great favourite here, Anna. Played very well at the Hopman Cup. So she'll play Melinda Sink in the first round. She's been a finalist here and a French Open winner and a former world number 1.
And on line 113, we have our 15th seed, Dominika Cibulkova.
Who's in the final of the Sydney title. That'll be played tonight against Ravonska. That's a great final. So Cibulkova, well, she plays Ash Barty, the 16-year-old Australian, so who we've got great high hopes for. So that's a tough match.
We now do seeds 17 through 24. First one drawn goes to line 9. We have our 21st seed, Varvara Lepchenko. Line 24 is next. And we have our 24th seed, Anastasia Pavlyuchenkova.
Anastasia played really well in Brisbane. She made the final there against Serena. So she's got a qualifier.
Next seed, onto line 41, we have our 20th seed, Janina Wickemeyer.
Janina made the final in Auckland just last week. She's done very well in Auckland before, and she was a semi-finalist at the US Open a few years ago.
And on line 56, we have our 17th seed, Lucy Safarova.
Lucy's played in Brisbane and Sydney this year. She's a former quarterfinalist here a few years back.
Line 73 is next. We have our 18th seed, Julia Gerges.
Julia Gerges, who made the 4th round here last year, so she's got a qualifier.
Next on line 88, we have our 22nd seed, Jelena Jankovic.
So Jelena, former world number 1 and US Open finalist.
Line 105 is next. We have our 19th seed, Ekaterina Makarova.
Well, she had a great run here at the Australian Open last year, making the quarter-final and taking out a massive name on the way through.
And on line 120, we have our 23rd seed, Klara Zakopolova.
Clara had a great run earlier. Only last week she made the final in Shenzhen against Li Na there, so she's in good form.
We now do our remaining 8 seeds, 25 through 32, starting on line 8. We have seed 31, Ursula Radvanska.
So we've got 2 sets of sisters in the draws, the Radvanska sisters and the Williams sisters, in the seeds, I should say.
Next on line 25, we have seed 26, Sue Shui.
Made the 4th round way back in 2008 here. Had a good year last year.
On line 40, we have seed 28, Yaroslava Shvedova.
Twice a quarterfinalist at the French Open.
Line 57, we have our 29th seed, Sloane Stephens.
Very promising player. I mean, Serena thinks she could be something very big, and she's having a good run in Hobart as we speak, into the semis.
Line 72 is next, seed 27, Sorana Cirstea.
Well, Sorana beat Sam Stokes on the opening round last year.
On line 89, we have our 32nd seed, Mona Bartel.
Mona's having a great run in Hobart again. She won it last year, and she's made 2 semi-finals already this year.
Line 104, we have our 30th seed, Tamira Pacek.
Tamira played in Brisbane and Sydney so far this year without much success.
And completing our women's draw, we have on line 121, our 25th seed, Venus Williams.
Now that's interesting. Venus, who is unbeaten in the Hopman Cup this year, now Venus is very close to Maria, as you can see. So there's a pretty good chance that Venus and Maria would clash in, would that be the 3rd round? The 3rd round, if it all went to seed. So, Wayne, that's the women. So, Pat, we might, because Wayne's got to set up for the men's as well, we might just have a little bit of a chat. A couple of things that jump out. So, Wozniacki, number 17, and Lisicki, number 18. That's tough draw for Wozniacki.
That's a very tough draw. That's as we see it blown up there. Yeah, Sabine Lisicki is one of the hardest hitting players, German player. Very, very tough player to beat. There's success on the course at Wimbledon. There's no doubt that Carolina's going to have her work cut out to get through. Sabine's had quite a lot of injuries, so she's a bit hot and cold, depending on her fitness form, but that's going to be a very tough match for Caroline Wozniacki.
So Vika's got Niculescu first up, so that's a pretty good draw, I think, for her. Niculescu is an honest player, and then you'd think that's not a bad draw for her all the way through, but Irani to play Suarez Navarro. Kuznetsova, number 27, Pat, I reckon, could be a little bit dangerous. Former world number 2 and won 2 Grand Slams.
Absolutely, yeah, she's an absolute quality player, and she's as you said, she's a dual Grand Slam champion. One of the best all-round players in the women's circuit. She can do everything. So, she's got a great chance. She'll be looking at that draw and say, I've got a chance to really move through here.
So she's had a knee injury, Pat, and she's played very well in Sydney. So she beat Wozniacki there. So the second quarter we might have a look at. So Serena and Victoria are in the same half. So if they both win through, it'll be a Williams-Azarenka semi-final.
Yeah.
Which happened at Wimbledon last year, but of course it was a final of the US Open, and there's a lot of interest in that rivalry. So
yeah, it's the luck of the draw. She could have come out on the other side. I think both players would have preferred that would have been the other side, but that's the way it goes.
Now Jarmila Gajdosova against Janina Wickmeyer. Gajdosova just hasn't had any luck at the Australian Open. That's a tough first round.
That is tough. Yeah, Yarka's she's a great player, very good player. She wants to get a bit of a run on. She's a giant killer though. She's got a potential giant killer. So she'll be looking at that saying, well, that's a tough draw. But Wickmeyer will be looking at that and going, oh, gee, this is a real danger. So Wickmeyer, a quality player. She's had some great success. Another one of my favourite players. So, two of my favourite players up there, first up on the line 41-42.
And if we go down, 57 is really interesting, I think. 62, Laura Robson, who had a big breakthrough year, and 64, obviously, Petra Kvitova. Okay,
That's a good little section there. The last four names there on the draw there. Boy, there's some talent there. Look at that. Odin and Robson, Schiavone and Kvitova. That's probably the toughest little four together in the women's draw.
For sure. So, we'll go to the third quarter, Pat, and this is Sam Stosur's quarter. So you've got Li Na at the top. Sam's got Chiang Kai-shen of Taipei. Possibility to play Zheng Jie in the second round, who just beat her in Sydney. Li Na at the top.
Yeah, these are all tough matches, and Sam would have liked to, she needs to get a couple of matches under her belt, that she's come back from surgery. I know all too well how tough it is to come back from surgery, and you're jumping in straight against the best players of the world. So,
how hard is it, Pat? How hard is it? I mean, how hard is it for an Aussie to play at the Australian Open? Is it the pressure?
Well,
different.
Everybody's different. Sam's, I think she struggled a little bit with that. She hasn't got expectations on her this time because she's coming back from injury. So perhaps she can get through that and relax and just say, well, I'll just try and improve my game. Look forward to staying fit the rest of the year. Sometimes you just loosen up and play really well. But I always enjoyed playing here in Melbourne. Though there was pressure, but history will show us that. Australians haven't had a great success here at their own tournament, which doesn't really make sense. And I think that'll change in time.
And Bojana Bobasic, who's a late developer, plays Agnieszka Radwanska. So the final quarter comes up, and we'll have Maria Sharapova, Venus Williams. I know I'm looking a little bit ahead, but a third round match that would be fantastic. Not for them maybe, but for us.
Yeah, I tell you what, there's some long arms and long legs on that court that day. It's a couple of the best athletes you're ever going to see, and they cover the court very, very well. So that's potentially that would be a fantastic match. But as we say, you've got Elise Cornet in there as well. She's a great player, a great French player. So she could cause an upset. I think she'd kind of fancy herself against Venus. But you know how Venus can play when she gets going.
Pat, just a couple of quickies. 113, 114. So Ash Barty, have you seen much of her?
Yes, I've seen Ash. I was with her over in Mexico, and she won the junior Fed Cup there.
Yep.
And she just cruised through the tournament.
So she's a 16-year-old Australian who we've got very high hopes for, haven't we?
She's an absolute talent, lovely girl. She's got all the shots, all round game, and great volleys as well. And sometimes the all-court players take a little bit while to get going, to find their game. She's already moved way right up the rankings, but she's not far away from getting some big scalps there. And Cibulkova will be a tough one for her because she's a very tough campaigner. So we'll have to see, but that'll be exciting first round match.
And the other one, 101, 102. So Casey Dellacqua, fourth round here, 2008, I think. Madison Keys, I saw her the other night. She's an incredible athlete from America who looks a huge talent, I think.
Well, they're two. You can't get two more talented players than those two, Casey and Madison, and so they'll obviously be fighting like mad to get through, and they've got a pass check in the next round, so they'll be looking forward to thinking that they might be able to grab that seed and move through. But
we might just put up the whole draw one more time, and then we'll go to the men, I think. So there's a lot of highlights to start off with, but
Bartoli, Medina, Garrigues, there's another one.
Medina was so good at the Hopman Cup. So that's the women's draw. Wayne, I reckon we could go with the men. Pat, do you want to go over and help Wayne? Sure. So the two trophies, the Norman Brooks Challenge for the men and the Daphne Ackhurst Memorial. So we're now with the Norman Brooks Challenge.
So how do they do this, Wayne? There's a computer that just randomly places the players out. Explain this to me.
It's just a random selection. We've been in the office and we've done it. We've done numerous test draws, and everyone is different. That's amazing.
I assume it was. I didn't think you'd very good. So everybody, the draw is going to come up. Aussies will be looking immediately towards Tomic and Hewitt, who are both unseeded.
Okay, if IBM could now randomly place the unseeded men's players into the men's singles draw. Thank you.
Hewitt's number 63. So Leighton's going to get a pretty tough first round. And where's Bernard? Can we see?
Bernard Tomic down the bottom here.
So Bernard Tomic's number 123. So Wayne, we might get on with it, eh?
Yep. Apologies to Leighton. I told him I wouldn't get him a top seed.
Okay, we'll start with our number 1 seed, Novak Djokovic, on line 1. And on line 128.
Can be dangerous against Novak.
Start with seeds 3 and 4. First one drawn goes on to line 33. We have our number 4 seed, David Ferrer.
Okay, so Andy Murray will be on the same side of the draw as Roger Federer.
And on line 91 goes on to line 32. We have our 5th seed, Thomas Berdych.
So Thomas has been in the quarterfinals the last 2 years here. He's been a semi-finalist or finalist at the majors at Wimbledon.
Line 64 is next. We have our 8th seed, Janko Tipsarevic.
Well, that's, I reckon, for nothing against Janko, who's already won this year in Chennai, but that's not bad for Leighton, I reckon, considering what he could have got.
Line 65, we have our 6th seed, Juan Martín del Potro.
Player qualifier, so Martin, who beat Roger in the US Open final in 2009.
And on line 97, we have our 7th seed, Joe Wilfried Tsonga.
So a bit of French flavour there with Michael Lodger against Joe Wilfried Tsonga. Joe with an Australian coach now, Roger Rashier. And he's had a great run, of course, at the Australian Open.
Seeds 9 through 12. First one drawn goes line 17. We have our 11th seed, Juan Monaco.
Hasn't played this summer. He's had a little bit of a hand injury, so coming in under a slight cloud.
Line 49 is next, and we have our 10th seed, Nicholas Almagro.
Gee, what a consistent player Nicholas is. He's in Adelaide at the moment. He's just write him down for the 4th round, I reckon.
Line 80 is next. We have our 12th seed, Marin Cilic.
So, okay, Marinko Matosevic, the number 1 Australian in terms of world ranking, plays a former semi-finalist here in Marin Cilic. That'll be good.
And on line 112, we have our 9th seed, Richard Gasquet.
Richard won in Doha earlier this year. Great talent, semi-finalist at Wimbledon a few years back. I think he's a little bit of a sneaky chance to do very, very, very well.
Seeds 13 through 16 now. First drawn goes on to line 16. We have our 15th seed, Stanislav Wawrinka.
He's been over with Cashy in Adelaide, Stan, and he's had some great results here at the Australian Open in the past.
Line 48. We have our 16th seed, Kai Nishikori.
Now, Craig told me, Kai's contacted Craig, he's fine with the knee, he'll be right to go, and what a talent he is.
On line 81, we have our 14th seed, Gilles Simon.
So Gilles Simon, quarterfinalist here a few years back in 2009.
Line 113, we have our 13th seed, Milos Raonic.
So Milos made the big run here a couple of years ago when he made the 4th round and has gone on with it. He's a sort of a now perennial top 25 player, and he's against Jan Hajek.
Seeds 17 through 24. First drawn goes to line 9. We have our number 20 seed, Sam Querrey.
Having a good run in Auckland. He's in the semi-finals today. He's had a few injury problems. He's a giant from America, but a big server and in good nick.
Line 24 is next. We have our 22nd seed, Fernando Verdasco.
Well, Fernando played one of the greatest matches ever at Melbourne Park against Rafa in a semi-final in 2009.
Line 41 is next, and we have our 23rd seed, Mikhail Yuzhny.
So for Matthew Ebden, he's against the veteran, the Russian veteran, who's been a quarter-finalist and a semi-finalist a couple of times, I think, at the US Open.
On line 56, we have our 24th seed, Jerzy Janowicz.
Jersey had a big run at the Paris Masters last year where he just sort of came out. He's a giant pole. He came out of the blue and he's got a high ranking.
Line 73, we have our 21st seed, Andreas Seppi.
Andreas Seppi's playing Bernard Tomic today in the semi-final in Sydney.
Line 88, we have our 18th seed, Alexander Dolgopolov.
Hey, what a great matchup this is. Dolgopolov and Monfils. Monfils coming back. He's number 99 in the world, but he's a former top 10er. That'll be a great match.
Line 105, we have our 19th seed, Tommy Haas.
So Tommy Haas, Jaakko Niemann, and two veterans. Jaakko beaten yesterday by Bernard and a former Sydney winner. That's a terrific match. Tommy played in Auckland yesterday and he's been a three-time semi-finalist here.
And on line 120, we have our 17th seed, Philip Kohlschreiber.
Philip, Mr. Consistency, isn't he? He's been a round of 16 a lot, quarter-finalist at Wimbledon last year, and he's got to qualify.
Okay, seeds 25 through 32 now.
Got Steve Darcis, actually. So 25 to 32.
First drawn goes on to line 8. We have our 31st seed, Radek Stepanek.
Well, he's a veteran too. I mean, I think he's 34 years of age, and that's a tough match for Viktor Troicki first up.
Line 25 is next, and we have our 26th seed, Jürgen Melzer.
Former semi-finalist at the French. Again, a veteran. So he plays Mikhail Kukushkin.
Line 40 is next, and we have our 28th seed, Marcus Bagdatis.
And Bagdatis is really interesting. Of course, he made the final here, but his form this year has been very encouraging in Brisbane and also at Kooyong. He plays Del Potro today. The winner plays Hewitt tomorrow.
Completing the top half of the men's draw, on line 57, we have our 32nd seed, Julian Beneteau.
Julian came in because of John Isner as withdrawal into the seeds. And he's in Sydney at the moment in the semi-finals.
Next drawn onto line 72 is our 30th seed, Marcel Granollers.
Quarterfinalist in Sydney, played Seppi last night.
Line 89, we have our 25th seed, Florian Mayer.
So he cops the wild card from the United States and Ryan Williams. So Florian beaten by Bernard Tomic this week.
Line 104, we have our 29th seed, Thomas Bellucci.
Made the fourth round last year here. Talented South American.
Completing our men's draw on line 121, our number 27 seed, Martin Klizan.
Who makes his Australian Open debut, 26-year-old. So, Wayne, is all the formalities concluded now? Everything's got to be checked and nothing left to do?
That's fine. We've got the okay.
Thank you, Wayne. Thank you very much. Pat, let's digest this a bit. I mean, the first thing we looked at was Leighton and Bernard, I guess, but we might do the quarter by quarter. So we'll set up Novak. So Paul-Henri Mathieu, who played at Kooyong this week.
Yep, very good. It's a good, solid player from France. That's an interesting little section there because you've got number 7 there, Viktor Troicki. He's playing Radek Stepanek. Troicki's as we know, a very talented player. One of the bunch of Serbian players that are coming through and strong. Stepanek, of course, has just come off the back of the first Czech Republic win in 32
Davis
years
Cup.
or something, and he was the hero.
He was, yeah.
He was the hero winning both singles and the doubles. So that's a really interesting section. I mean, there's lots of interesting sections, of course, but that there particularly is there's some talent. And Stepanek is probably one of my top 3 favourite players to watch in the world of tennis. He's got all the shots, plays old-style school tennis, Bruce, and comes to the net, drops shots, volleys, all sorts of crafty stuff. So hoping that he can get through, but it's a tough first round.
So potentially Berdych and Djokovic quarterfinal. So we go to the second quarter, and we might go. Well, David Ferrer is the number 4 seed, so consistent, semi-finalist quarter. Let's go right down to the bottom. What's Leighton's chances against Janko Tipsarevic?
Well, Leighton's always got a chance against anybody, and I think Tipsarevic is a very, very solid player. He's fit, he's fast, he'll stay out there for hours and hours, and look, of course, Leighton can beat can beat Janko. This is the second year in a row that Janko's been in the top 10. As I said, very tough customer. But boy, that's. I'll tell you what. Get your dinner. Set your coffees up because that's going to be a long match.
Craig, is that one of those matches that you sort of talk about in the bunker? You know, Hewitt and Tipsarevic. Okay, good. John Millman, John, are you still here? Put your hand up if you are. I think John beat Ito in Brisbane in the first round. He's pretty sure about that. So John will be happy about that. Yeah, so that's 37 and 38. And then Matthew Ebden's on this bit as well. Am I going to even say? Yeah, 41 and 42. So Mikhail Yuzny, we know. Matty Ebden had a good run here last year, won a match, and then looked like winning. I think he was 2 sets to love up on Nishikori. Anyway,
he ran out of steam.
Yep.
Yeah, he ran out of steam a bit, and down there 57 and 58. So we've got Julian Benneteau snuck in as the last seed, playing one of the most talented players in the world. Youngster who's not so young anymore, Dimitrov. So there's a potential upset there as well.
Third quarter. So Del Potro a qualifier. Murray. So the important thing here, I guess, if you're Novak, he doesn't get Murray in the semis. He gets Ferrer. But you know, if the seedings go that way. So Murray and Federer on one side of the draw. So that's pretty tough for both of them, I would have thought, Pat.
It's well, yeah. I mean, it's I think Andy Murray and Djokovic are the two tough, you know, my two favourites, and you expect them to go through. You know, as I said, Federer is anyway. Anybody's got Federer in the draw is the section is. You know, not too happy as well, but that's going to be a great match.
79 versus 80. Matosevic and Silic?
Yes, that's a big one to ask for Marinko to beat Marin Cilic. Cilic is again a player who can play on all surfaces, and has been a bit injury prone, but boy can he play. So that'll be a great match to watch.
And I like 87 and 88, don't you? Monfils and Dolgopolov.
Oh yeah, well that is going to be absolutely. You know, that may not make centre court that match, but. Boy, that's going to be full of entertainment. Those two are the most entertaining tennis players in the world, and playing first round. So it's a bit unfortunate for both of those guys, or certainly for one of them who won't get through.
For John Patrick Smith, he may have the opportunity if he can win that first match of playing Andy Murray in the second round. We go to the final quarter. Bernard Tomic's in this quarter, and he's down towards the bottom, Pat, 123. So. He plays another Maya, the Argentinian, who has had a good run at the French in the past, but you'd think Bernard would start a warm favourite there.
Yeah, I would say so. You expect him to get through there.
But he's got number 128's very close to him, though, isn't he?
Yes, I think most Australians would like to think that would like to have hoped that he got stayed away from Federer, but. You know, that's prime time TV, Bruce. I think you'd probably be on that one, won't you? Calling that match. I'm guessing it. They played here last year.
They played in the fourth round last year. So they played in the fourth. So this year they played in the third round. So they played in the fourth last year, Tomic and Federer. So this year, if they get through, they'll play in the fourth.
We'll see. It'll be very interesting. We'll see how Bernard's improved and see if Roger's still sharp. So that it's starting to switch over that.
And Pat, just before we wrap up, Luke Saville, 18-year-old. Former Wimbledon and Australian junior champion, number 100. But what about 101 and 102? There's the two young Aussies, eh? The two wildcards.
Pulled 3 out in a row. There's the 3 very talented Australians in a row, talented youngsters. Luke Saville, Wimbledon junior champion, very good player. James Duckworth is probably the name you may not know that much, but boy, he's as talented, if not more talented than the others. And so they'll be playing against each other, which is... the Aussies there. So it's a great opportunity for one of them to get through, but they could have played at the backyard around the corner here. So that's the way it goes.
It's a big stage. So one final look at the men. Craig, when does is it Sunday afternoon, the opening day's draw? When is the opening day's draw released for the day and night sessions? Is it Sunday evening, Sunday afternoon?
No, we'll probably be able to do that. It obviously depends on the qualifying matches today, and we've got the final round of qualifying matches tomorrow. But traditionally, we've done it later on Saturday, but we hope to do it sooner.
Okay, fantastic. Wayne and Craig, thank you. Is there anything more, Craig? I think we're just about right, don't you?
I think we have a great draw, some unbelievable matchups, and as Cashy said, there's some... it's going to be interesting, some decisions on which matches and which players we put where, because there's a lot of good ones.
Yeah, well, that's something you'd love to. Hey, Pat, thanks so much, mate. Ladies and gentlemen, Pat Cash, the Wimbledon champ of '87 and couple of finals. Great to have you here, Cashy.
Thank you.
Terrific. And look, thanks to Novak and Vika of Thanks, everyone. Really been great for the public to come along and enjoy the draw. So can't wait for the next fortnight. It's just so exciting. It's amazing. We love it. Steve, good luck. Craig, good luck, and to all the players. So thanks, everyone. That's it.